Would I ever go on the Candace Owens show? No. I did see this, though. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah. Briahna Joy Gray got fired from The Hill for, I don't know, presumably some kind of Hitlerite shit. I have no idea. And went on Candace Owens's 5th episode. I knew BJG was cooked, but I didn't realize it was like get fired, go on Nazi podcast. And again, to be clear, Candace Owens has been objectively Nazi posting, like full on blood libel, like JQ broader stuff on Twitter. Like it's not she's gone off the deep end. Well, she's just grifting to the audience, you know. Again, she has no real principles. Presumably BJG doesn't either, but I already knew that. Another person fired for criticizing Israel. Look at the top comment. If they're black, it's a gang. If they're Italian, it's a mob. But if they're Jewish, it's a coincidence, and we should never speak about it. That's the top comment response. Is Briahna Wu the cool one, or is she cringe too? Briahna Wu is honestly probably right there with Briahna Joy Gray in terms of Hitler particles and general grifty distaste right now, I gotta say. They're standing in line. Like they're shoulder to shoulder. Demonic.
In America should be able to criticize the actions of foreign governments without having their entire livelihoods risked. This is not normal. And yet there are so many people who know, like I know and like you know.
She's also retweeted Jake Shields after this and got positive engagement from Fuentes. Who? Candace Owens or Briahna Joy Gray? Like, because I wouldn't be surprised if it was Briahna Joy Gray. Briahna Joy Gray retweeted Jake Shields, retweeting Michael Tracy. Michael. Kim Iverson, also Hitlerite. I don't see Jake Shields. Though Kim Iverson is also extremely Hitler-esque. So, you know, whatever. Might be further down, though. Bitch is on Twitter quite a bit. She keeps fun company. Yeah. A lot of Squirrel Girl, too. Speedrunning, leaving the left. I really don't think that the left broadly has a massive problem with anti-Semitism in the context of, like, the broader environment in which politics takes place in. I do think, however, that there is a very specific kind of like leftist who genuinely does not give a shit if anti-Israel criticism comes from a place of anti-Semitism, and they get a suspicious amount of traction sometimes. Kim Iverson recently did Nazi war crime denials. No, Kim Iverson has said Nazi shit. You know, I don't know if she's a Nazi because I don't think these people believe anything, but yeah. No, it does, Vosh. We all saw what the DSA did with Russia and how many praised the Hamas attack on October 7th. I don't think praising Hamas's attack necessarily stems from a place of anti-Semitism.
That if you are in media, you got to be careful talking about Israel. Why is that?
Yeah, it really is the one true red line. And I think you experience that as being part of a media organization that I think rightly really prioritized and focused on various threats to free speech in various different contexts and across the political spectrum. But it really does feel like free speech except for when it comes to Israel, progressive except for when it comes to Palestine.
Okay, here we go. On June 4th, 2024, Yarden Gonen, the sister of Israeli hostage Romi Gonen, was interviewed on Gray's Rising show. By the end of the discussion, the woman said, "I really hope that you, Briahna Joy Gray specifically, will believe women when they say they have been." Gray sighed, rolled her eyes, and interrupted Gonen, ending the segment. Gray's reactions were met with backlash as she was viewed as being dismissive towards the families of the hostages. Gray was fired from Rising the following day, to which Gray claimed The Hill has a clear pattern of suppressing speech, particularly when it's critical of the state of Israel. This is why they fired Katie Halps. It was only a matter of time before they fired me. Why did Katie Halper, why did she get fired? Katie Halper is also a moron? Really? Halper and Matt Taibbi launched and have co-hosted the podcast Useful Idiots, distributed by Rolling Stone. They've had interviews with Tulsi Gabbard, Ro Khanna, Andrew Yang, Bernie Sanders, Michael Moore, Tim Robbins, Glenn Greenwald, Norman Finkelstein, Aaron Mate, Dennis Kucinich, Noam Chomsky, Adam McKay, Loki's Michelle Tlaib, and Roger Waters. Quite a lineup, released by Rolling Stone. And then they would be moving to Substack. Taibbi announced a sabbatical leave to write a book, and Aaron Mate would fill in for him. Yeah, not really surprising. Kucinich? Gotcha.
I mean, there is this Palestine-sized hole or exception in a lot of people's principled stance against various issues. And I say progressive except for Palestine because there are similarly people on the left who say that they care about various groups, who say that they are anti-war, but who very similarly will look the other way or frankly become very oppositional when suddenly the people that we're talking about who are being
Israeli life. And as soon as I was saying this is equal to me, suddenly all of these attacks started. And I really did feel like what was happening after October 7th.
Oh, there we go. There's her retweeting Jake Shields. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Jake Shields is not like a quiet Nazi, you know?
Is very reminiscent to me of what was happening after 9/11 and growing up in the 9/11. And I look back on that time because I realized that there was this sort of media insistence. We didn't have social media. We didn't have other perspectives being given to us. There really was no sense of an independent media. But I look back on that and I realized I was almost brainwashed to believe that Muslim life had no worth. And thinking about how scared I was every time I saw a Muslim at, wherever I was, whether it was an airport, anywhere. And we're obviously concerned. They grew up in Israel, their family grew up in Israel as Jews,
This is actually incredibly boring. I am taking off my a black woman is speaking, shut up and listen t-shirt. Voltaire, if you want to know who controls you, look at who you're not allowed to criticize. And of course, this was not from Voltaire, but actually a Nazi who was convicted for being a pedophile. And they were talking about Jews. Free USA from AIPAC. Why is DNA testing illegal in the state of Israel? I don't even know if that's true or what dog whistle this is. Can't criticize Israel. Free America from AIPAC. I mean, this is the whole point of dog whistles. It's not true, not a shocker. They lied just saying, oh, well, yeah, of course, right. The DNA one is the Khazar shit. Yeah, I'm familiar with some of the, here. Yeah, let me see the behavior that got Briahna. Don't, just because I full screen doesn't mean I want the video to play. Come on, YouTube, come on.
That you specifically will believe women when they say that they got hurt.
All right, thanks for joining. Stick around, more Rising coming up next.
That was a pretty minimal gesture at the end there. I think that there are one of two possibilities. Either the people at the Hill really wanted to get rid of Briahna Joy Gray, which there probably is some reason for that because the Hill does occasionally pretend to be a legitimate organization, and Briahna Joy Gray is kind of a lunatic. Or it could have been like they really are that hypersensitive to criticism of Israel. But if that's the case, there are other people on the Hill who have been critical of Israel. So yeah, I don't know. Straw that broke the camel's back? Yeah, to be sure. I certainly wouldn't deny the fact that the media landscape is hypercritical of people who are antagonistic towards Israel in any way, but it certainly doesn't help that Briahna Joy Gray is out there retweeting neo-Nazis and going on their podcasts. Huh. Weirdly, because this video right here is from the New York Post, all of the comments are anti-Briahna Joy Gray. Because Briahna Joy Gray is anti-Zionist, well, probably anti-Semitic, and a black woman. They think that she's a liberal. Believe all women unless there's a chance it could debunk your delusions of what Hamas is. She should have been fired a long time ago. She's a crazy activist. How could a woman roll her eyes to a woman hostage victim who has gone through an unthinkable situation in captivity? She was fired for being rude and unprofessional. Classic thing to say when a black person does anything on television. She needs to be fired. She can go cry on The View now. See, they think she's like a liberal. I thought as a woke person, she'd be sensitive to another suffer. David Dole has a breakdown on why she got fired. Crazy how many Hitlerites there are out there, huh? She also rolled her eyes at kidnapped Ukrainian kids. It was more pronounced. Well, yeah, she's terrible. she's a terrible person. The one in the broader political landscape, one of the worst consequences to the October 7th, in addition to, of course, the hastening of the genocide of the Palestinian people, has also been the fact that a whole bunch of like very far right people have been getting like lefty cred by being anti-Israel. Didn't you try to call her out about the Ukrainian kids, but she shut it down hard? I don't remember what I talked to her about because it was like at 7 a.m., hence the Southern pastor voice or whatever. You know, the inflantation barren voice because I was too tired to hear how I was talking. But like fully half of the conversation that I had with her was her being upset that I'd said mean stuff to her on Twitter. She was like, now that I have you on, do you remember calling me a stupid bitch? I was like, no, I don't remember that. I'm sure I did. I don't remember the specific context in which I said that. Could you refresh my memory? I'm sure I'm sure you could bring me back to that spot like emotionally. It sounds like me. Like that does sound like something, you know, I might say. So one of the comment sections had outright Nazi shit, the other had standard MAGA shit. The Nazi shit was in Candace Owens's podcast comment section. The standard conservative stuff was from the New York Post. Candace Owens is a Nazi, or at least says Nazi stuff. I mean, like, Jesus Christ, literally look at this. Uh-oh, I got fired. And the whole video was like, the Jewish Ben Shapiro was so Zionist that he fired me and censored my America First opinions on, et cetera, et cetera. The real reason my show was canceled. There we've got Kanye. Isn't this the... Pardon me for being racist and not remembering all black people in existence. Isn't this the guy who was doing the Blittler shit? Or am I thinking of a different guy? That's P. Diddy? Then it's not the guy. I'm thinking of a different guy then. I'm thinking of like an athlete guy? No, it's not him? Okay, yeah, gotcha. Candace plus Yee podcast episode coming soon. I'm sure. Why does Nikki Haley love Israel more than the United States? Uh-oh, black Americans can no longer be controlled. That's the Democrat plantation bit she's argued before. Debating Christ is King with Piers Morgan. Jesus Christ. Another Piers Morgan video. Smackdown, Piers Morgan tried to ambush me. And then again, like Israel, you know. Is there really a difference between saying things to grift versus saying things because you believe them? In practice, not very much. There's some like minor variance, I guess, in how you would consider it in a broader rhetorical sense. But no, for the most part, yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. I caught a bit of the Piers Morgan thing, and he started it out by bitching at her about all the bad things she said about him on Twitter. Very low testosterone opener, I have to say. Not a good one. Not a very effective one.